People are starting to decide where they want to be visible and where they want to be invisible to blend into the background. Hi, my name is Rick Aster, and this is what I'm seeing in the current energies for October 2021. Conscious visibility is the trend that I'm seeing. Now, we all know how to be more visible sometimes and less visible other times. We want to be noticed sometimes and we want to go unnoticed at other times. But the thing is, for the most part, this is something we learned in childhood, and we learned patterns of how visible we wanted to be, and we tend to follow those patterns unconsciously. And what's happening now is the unconscious patterns are becoming conscious, and then people are becoming a lot more savvy, a lot more nuanced about how visible they want to be in one place or another. So let me look at the two big childhood patterns. People want to hide if they're in a place as children where they don't feel safe, or they want to seek attention if it feels safe enough for them to seek attention. Most of us will have both patterns to a significant extent. So hiding and attention seeking. Now, attention seeking makes perfect sense for a social animal. We need to not be forgotten as kids, because until we're almost adults, we really need other people to remember to take care of us. So attention seeking is, well, I would say it's an instinct. And then hiding is an instinct for any animal that might be a prey animal. Some predator, let's say, is looking for you, and you don't want to be seen in that situation, but then you want to come out afterward. So we can get stuck in either or both of these patterns of hiding and attention seeking. And then we carry them into our adult lives and repeat these patterns without stopping to think of whether they really fit the situation. So let's talk about just a couple of examples of how people seek to be visible or invisible. So one of the most obvious is clothing colors. I think most people know if you wear solid colors in bright, bold tones or black, you're going to be seen. And if you wear camouflage or plaid or tan or beige clothing, you're going to blend into the background pretty much. Now, this doesn't work in every situation. If you're at night or if you're in a theater or something, black is not the more visible color. But in almost any other situation, black is the most visible color there is. As I'm talking to you, I'm talking from Pennsylvania, where we've actually made a religion out of wearing black. I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not. You can look it up if you don't believe me. So this thing about wearing black is a pretty deep part of our culture everywhere in the Western world. It's been the most popular clothing color for at least the last 25 years, and that's because most people do want to be noticed. They want to be seen as someone who's important. But then plaid has also been very popular for a very long time, and you can see there's a lot of people who want to go unnoticed, who want to blend in and be part of the background. And of course, it's not just plaid, it's any sort of ragged combination of colors that kind of looks like where I am here in a forest. A splash of this and a splash of that, and it doesn't add up to a definite form or shape. And that's the nature of camouflage. Now here I'm wearing red. That's considered one of the more visible colors, and it's got some splashes of yellow on it, which probably makes it a little more visible. If I were wearing gray or green, I'd blend in a lot more. So we know about clothing colors. You can get in the habit of wearing black most of the time because you want people to notice you, or these other solid colors, or you can get in the habit of wearing like floral prints or camouflage of some other kind if you're afraid of being noticed and you're trying to hide while you're out in a place where people are. So another example we're all familiar with, at least here, is screen names. So some people habitually, if they're writing something online, they'll write it using their own name, the same name all the time. So I do this most of the time. You see my name Rick Aster enough times, I figure you might remember who I am. And a lot of people do this, of course, but a larger number of people write comments on these online platforms using throwaway names. So you have a name something like, you heard it from Jerry 0704. It's a kind of a mishmash of words when you first read it. You don't quite know what it means. You're probably not going to remember it, and that's the point. This is someone who's trying to be anonymous, but they still want to say something. So clothing colors, screen names, these are ways, just two examples of ways that you modulate your visibility to make yourself more visible or less visible. There is a second big category of unconscious patterns around visibility that we tend to pick up, and this is not so much as children, but as adults. And these are the marketing concepts. And marketing is such a part of our culture that even if you've never taken a course or read a book in marketing, you have some of these. So these ideas are that you want to highlight certain qualities that you have and obscure certain other qualities that you have. So just to make up an example, let's say there's a brand of microphone and they have microphones in hot, trendy colors, but the microphones sound terrible. So this brand is going to want to play up the colors of their products and try not to talk at all about the sound quality of their products, because the colors are good, the sound quality is bad. So when you get into this, you get into something that's sometimes called the company line or party line. This is the official story of what's important about a brand or what's going on in a particular subject area. And you'll have some of this for yourself. You'll say, I hope they notice this thing about me. I hope they don't notice this other thing. The point here is that you have a story where you're trying to be more visible in some ways, less visible in others. But it's the same story all the time. It's like you're talking to the public. You want to stick to the script. So it becomes unconscious after you've done this for a little while. And you're constantly trying to push your good qualities, downplay or obscure your bad qualities, according to how you see yourself. And these, the public might not agree, and any individual person won't necessarily agree, but you adopt this story and you tend to follow it. So then again, it's the same story all the time. It's kind of like in childhood where if you're hiding as your pattern, or if you're attention-seeking as your pattern, you tend to follow that like a script. These are the unconscious patterns, and what's happening now as people are becoming more conscious, it's like people are saying, hey, wait a minute, where am I, and what's going to happen if I'm seen here? So as you start on this, you're probably doing a lot of analytic thinking, stopping to ask, well, where am I? Who's going to see me here? Who's looking at me? Who's looking for someone like me here? What are the risks of being seen here? What are the benefits of being noticed here? And then based on that, you can decide, well, how visible do I want to be right now? And one of the questions that you'll quickly come to as you go down this line of thinking is one of the basic questions of etiquette, the question, whose house am I in? So, for example, if you're on a website, let's say it's called schoolbook.com, then you know that the schoolbook.com people are collecting data on everything you do there. And you can stop to think, well, what are the benefits of schoolbook.com knowing all about what I do? What are the risks of that? And of course, we've all been somewhat forced into this kind of thinking because of the degree to which online companies have been collecting data about us and using it oftentimes against our best interests. So once you go into this analytic thinking for a while, it's very conscious, very self-conscious analytic thinking, probably for a few weeks or a few months. But after a while, I believe it becomes a habit. It becomes relatively unconscious again, where everywhere you go, you're starting to think, well, who's here? What are they going to see? What good and what bad could happen from my being seen here? And you start to modulate your visibility based on that line of thinking without it having to be a conscious decision. So I believe this conscious, self-conscious, analytic thinking is the main way that people are arriving at conscious visibility this month. But there is another way that this happens, and that is through having a strong sense of self and purpose. So if you know who you are and you know exactly what you are trying to do, especially if you know exactly what you're trying to do in a particular place, then all kinds of conscious action patterns come about more naturally. If you're very clear about what you're trying to do at an event, then you'll be clear about what kind of people can help you do what you're trying to do at that event. And without even thinking about it, you'll try to be seen by these people. You might walk right up to them and ask for the help that you want. And it doesn't take this pattern of self-conscious analysis to arrive at this. You do it automatically because you're embodying this sense of purpose that you have. Now, the sense of purpose is strongly connected to the sense of self. Knowing who you are and knowing what you want, knowing what you're trying to do, are really all the same thing in the end. Knowing what your purpose is, knowing who you are, having a keen sense of what you're trying to do, you will tend to modulate your visibility automatically so that you're seen by people who you think can help you, and you go unnoticed by the people who you think might obstruct you in some way. So this is the big trend this month. It's conscious visibility. It's getting out of this unconscious, mostly childhood patterns of trying to hide or trying to seek attention, and being more conscious, seeking attention in the places where it helps and avoiding attention in the places where it won't help. I see a lot of people doing that this month, and it's something I think we'll all pick up on fairly soon, just by osmosis, as more and more people are doing it. And when you decide you want to be more conscious about your visibility, it turns out it's not that hard to do. Well, thank you for watching. My name again is Rick Aster. I will see you again soon in another video.